Hey guys, we have to talk about the character Igor and even his entire team a little bit more. Because I'm hit with the questions of, hey Straw, how good is Igor actually? Where would he land on your individual character tier list? Or how good is this team around him? Because it seems kind of mediocre, and where would this team land on the tier list? Is it better than Afterglow? Does it contest impromptu? And all of these kind of things I will give an answer to in this video today. If you watch my channel, you will know that I'm perfectly able to judge characters accurately by just looking at their kit, and I don't really even need to see them in action necessarily. Now for Igor, just as I did with Marsha by the way, but for Igor, things are a little bit different. Let me explain to you why that is. If we look at Igor's kit, then we will realize very fast that everything comes down to shell fragments. We need to spread these shell fragments via all kinds of abilities that we do by using our ultimates and so on and so forth. And we don't know what abilities spread how many shell fragments. We don't even know what the value here is for a single shell fragment. How much damage will one shell fragment actually increase our damage output, you know? By how much? Or what is his base damage on his ultimate? Because that will determine if we rely truly on these shell fragments or if those shell fragments are a bonus. If we rely on those shell fragments, which we will probably do, that is fair to assume, then how many shell fragments do we actually need on the priority target, on the primary target, to draw equal or like even pass other DPS characters in this game that do the same stuff as Igor does, like a Recoleta or even a Centurion if you want to go that far. And without having this information, it is impossible to judge Igor as an individual character. It goes further because he will of course be the main DPS of his team, and his teammates, yeah, low para is 100% confirmed, but even his teammates are not set in stone yet, because we do not know if we spread enough of these shell fragments without Muldir. Or again, we don't know how much value a shell fragment actually has, because you can see this here. Muldir spreads more shell fragments than any other character in this game would. Do we need this extra spread of shell fragments? How much value would it give us to have this additional shell fragments spread from Muldir? Would this be overkill? Would this not matter too much? You know, how much does this additional shell fragment spread from Muldir here matter, you know? We don't know that yet, and that is crucial and key information, because that and that alone will determine if Melania is the main character, or yeah, like the best in slot here for this team, or if Muldir will be the best in slot. That is very important to know, right? Of course, otherwise, if you don't know what the best in slot in a team is, how would you judge the team, right? That is not possible. Yeah, low para is of course confirmed, and Marsha will be the sustain for the time being. Okay, we just don't know if it will be Melania or if it will be Muldir. That we will have to wait and see until we find out how much value a shell fragment actually gives us and how many more shell fragments Muldir will spread compared to other characters. Now, of course, I wouldn't make this video if I would not have answers ready for you. How good will Igor as an individual character be? That is a TBD. That needs to be determined, right? But how good will his team be? And therefore also, how good will Igor as an individual character be? Here, I can give you some answers. If these answers will be satisfying, that you will have to decide for yourself. But here they come. You know, if we go by a very simple logic here, and everyone can easily understand that. Then you need to take a look at his teammates right here, right? Let's go with Muldir because she is more healthy for my example that I'm gonna give you. It makes it easier to understand what I'm about to say. If you are a brand new character and you are played together with characters like Muldir and Lopera that are not viable and that are completely outclassed by multiple other characters in their spot. You see, there is a reason everyone skipped Muldir. There are reasons why no one plays Muldir. That is because she is a pretty underwhelming character. She does not hit the numbers that she needs. She is in her support capabilities extremely slow, which is detrimental, right? Because mostly when it comes to judging how good a team is, it is actually a damage race, right? That is not my fault. If you don't like that, then go write an email to Bluepock, right? And complain there and not in my YouTube comment section. Thank you very much. Then we have to go further, right? And another reason why Muldir is just straight up sunks is because she's outclassed by many characters in this game, especially Melania though. You would always, 100% of the time, no matter how you spin it, no matter where you look, always play Melania over Muldir, and everyone has access to Melania at this point, right? So Muldir is trash. Simple as that. And it goes further here. Lopera is a must play in this team. You cannot play Igor without Lopera. These two are partners in crime and they go together no matter what. Lopera is irreplaceable in this team. Now, what did I just tell you about Muldir, right? The same logic here applies to Lopera as well. Lopera is not played in any team whatsoever. No one on this planet actively plays Lopera seriously. Why? Because she is trash. Why? Because the numbers that she provides, the support that she provides to the team is not enough anymore, and she's outclassed by a lot of other characters. The best example today would be Getian. You would always 100% of the time, no matter in what team, no matter where you look, always play Getian over Lopera because it's just simply a much better character. And so here you can easily understand that. Some people said it as like a joke or with a laughing smiley. I hear it like complete dog shit, like, or just because this character is played together with Muldir, he is trash. Yeah, no, that is not that is actually true. Look, if you are a character that is played together with trash characters that are outclassed and no one on the world plays, then it diminishes your own value tremendously, right? If you are a Recoleta and you are played together with good characters like Melania and Getian and even Robushka, yeah, of course you're gonna perform better than a character like Igor that is stuck with Muldir and Lopera, right? That is easy to explain. And like to shut this down as well, don't come with the argument, yeah, Straw, can't you read? Together with Igor in your team, he buffs Lopera and Muldir. He gives them more value. He makes these characters better. No, he absolutely doesn't. The buffs here for Lopera, they don't matter at all. They are best case scenario, just a quality of life update. They don't do anything for Lopera. Lopera is played in this team because of her ultimate and the array that she establishes, so she can retain the bullets that Igor needs. Lopera is not here for her critical damage or to inflict burn or anything like that, right? So please throw this shitty argument completely out of the window. I don't want to hear it. You will be deleted. Then the same kind of logic here kind of applies to Muldir. Here that is a little bit speculative, right? As I said, it depends on the shell fragments that I told you all about earlier in this video. So that actually remains to be seen. The buffs from Muldir here, they might actually matter. I will give you that one. But yeah, you can see what makes this even a little bit worse, you can say, and it is actually true, is that, see, in the version that Igor comes out, we also get the character Marsha. And Marsha is also, at the time that Igor releases, if you want to play this team on Igor release, you need Marsha. Otherwise, you like pretty much cannot play this team. You can play this team, of course, if you have Muldir, Melania, and Lopera, but still, you would lose out on a lot of value. Because again, right, each additional character in this team that is from the Beast Afflatus leads to us spreading more shell fragments. And these shell fragments, they will be really, really important. They determine how good this team will be in the end. And you will need 3 Beast Afflatus characters to be played together with Igor. Safe to say, that is without question. And again, Marsha is the only Beast Afflatus character in this game that can sustain a team all on her own and on a very good basis. She will be consistent. The only other sustain in this game from the Beast Afflatus is Medicine Pocket, and I think I don't need to explain again why this wouldn't work out. That makes this team very expensive, because let's go with the logic and say Muldir is gonna be the best in slot. Muldir will see, or Muldir sees right now a rerun in China. Right before the Igor release, they rerun Muldir. That will probably mean that for us, Muldir will be paired with 1 or 2 other characters on the scam banner, just like it is with Kiparina and Aleph right now. But we will have to wait and see on this one. Fact of the matter is that you probably need Muldir. Maybe not, and maybe you will get away with playing Melania, right? But 100% guaranteed you will need Marsha. Marsha releases right before Igor and right after the version 3.2, which will be for most players very, very expensive, with Beryl Isolde, with Anionala, with Kala Bauna, with so many other characters as well, right? Like for example Brumé. A lot of people I hear already will pull for Brumé for whatever reason that might be. And yeah, fact of the matter is, version 3.2 is gonna be very expensive. The Euphoria banner with the entire rank up team on it and stuff. People are gonna go completely broke in 3.2. And then they need Marsha, right? And then you need Igor, right? Maybe you will need to pull on a scam banner for Muldir or the rerun or whatever, however you might get access to Muldir. You will not have the resources, you will lose so much of your money, you gotta be completely insane, right? That's the point. And again, all of these things combined, how expensive this team will be, when this team is, the point in time at which this team drops, the fact that you are a brand new player and you are stuck with trash characters, objective trash characters in your team, all of these things scream, that is not gonna work out and that is not gonna be worth it. Okay, at least not at release. Now we can go for a little bit of speculation and what we would need to actually make this team respectable. Let's go into this a little bit. But yeah, before we hop into it, let me put a little bit of emphasis one more time on why it is so trash that if you are a new character that releases and you are stuck on your team with very, very outclassed and extremely mediocre characters that no one plays, right? It is, let me give you an example from Dragon Ball. If you are joining a tournament in a 4v4 format, right? And you have insanely cracked characters in one team, but now you are Son Goku and you are stuck with Mr. Satan and Yamcha on your team, right? Of course, you're not gonna have a good time in this tournament. Even though you yourself, you might be Son Goku and you are the strongest character in the universe. Still, Yamcha and Mr. Satan, maybe even Kuririn, they will cost you very likely the win in the end. And that is the exact same scenario with Igor here. No matter how good he might be, if he is stuck with trash on his team, that is gonna diminish not only his individual value, but also the value of his entire team. But enough about that, let's now dive into speculation territory. Low para is pretty outdated at this point, right? And the next version got a teaser, version 3.4. It has a teaser that implies it is about China. And China is the country. Now, this is like speculation, right? It is very, very far-fetched. I do agree. But hear me out. Bullets do become more and more of a thing. And bullets need gunpowder. The country that introduced gunpowder to the world, that invented gunpowder, is China. And we have this bullet. We have a Chinese-themed version coming up with 3.1. Gunpowder is a thing for bullets. And low para is an outdated character. So what am I getting here at is, if low para receives her euphoria, even like let's say as soon as version 3.4, or in the very near future in version 3.5 would also be kind of fine, right? That would of course be clutch for this team, and it would make the team way, way better. What would push this team over the edge in terms of viability here is if this euphoria update for low para would turn her into a top tier sustain character. Then we could kick out Marsha and low para would move from support to sustain. If that would become a thing, that would like put this team onto the next level, because now we have a free slot, and that slot could be filled, for example, with a character that is as overpowered as a Melania would. And then we could play Melania, Muldi and low para, all three of them together with Igor. That would be crazy, right? So there we go. We don't know that, of course, that is pure speculation, but that is like, if that would be a scenario that would come true, then this team would of course have an increase in value that would be tremendous, you know what I mean? And therefore we shouldn't write this team off completely, even though, as I said, the stars, they don't align here. Everything screams this team will be ass. So that's it for the video, guys. That's all that I wanted to talk about. You now go ahead and judge that for yourself. My prediction is, as I said, no matter how good Igor might turn out, no matter how strong these shell fragments will be, it is already a question that we shouldn't need to be asking right here. It is a red flag already. And then these trash characters that Igor relies on, especially low para, those are not obviously not good signs right here, right? So, but yeah, there we go. You have everything now. Judging Igor individually, it's not going to be that great. The team is not going to be great overall. Not going to be worth the investment, especially like taking into consideration everything that is going on around them and how expensive everything is before them, and then how expensive they will be. With like the Muldir, you will probably need to obtain Muldir. You have to pull for Igor then after you pulled for Marsha, after you P5 Baron or some shit like that. Like, not gonna be that great. But that's it for the video, guys. I hope this was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server, link in the description down below. Take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.